Sorry about that, everybody. Hope you guys can hear me. Hope you guys can hear me. Testing 1 2. Test. Testing 1 2. I do apologize for the. I do apologize for the dark screen. Today's just gonna kind of be like a little bit of a talk. So let me restart that. Sorry, guys. To whoever's listening, my bad. I'll try to like cut this part out because wasn't trying to just sit there for 30 seconds, not doing anything. And for enough rambling about that. Good morning. Hope you guys are having a good Thursday. And with that being said, today I just kind of want to talk about, honestly, just a little bit about what's going on with the holidays. Hopefully, everyone's doing well. And hopefully, you got your Christmas shopping done. And I'm sure right now everybody's struggling last minute, trying to get their gifts together for those who didn't prepare. I'm not going to lie, I'm not perfect. I'm there in the same boat. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, procrastination is just something a lot of us do well, and I speak for my behalf, especially, unfortunately. But that being said, I also want to talk about cameras, and our main topic for today is going to be why you should buy a camera. But again, that's going to be the main topic, and again, just like I said, I do apologize since you can't see anything. I kind of just want to do like an audio thing today. I'm not sure if it's going to be a podcast or what, but um, thank you for whoever's listening at this time. Uh, if you guys hear any like noise in the background, like clicking or thuds, I'm so sorry. It's because I'm currently driving, and I figured, well, better. And another thing I do want to say sorry for is if you guys keep hearing that little like me clear my throat, it's because I just got off work. It's super cold outside, and I'm kind of a little bit under the weather. So it's just kind of like one of those rough spots that I find myself in, or I put myself in. So, with that being said, again, I apologize for the cough. I apologize for the, you know, ambience, the sound, and the low quality of the audio. But, thank you for whoever listens to this. Hopefully, you guys are having a good day. And again, hopefully, you guys are having a wonderful holiday cheer, especially since we are literally uh, at Wednesday at the time of this recording. And we have, if you celebrate the day of, like the night, that midnight comes and you're already like celebrating Christmas, more power to you, because we are literally going to be then in that case 3 days away. But if you don't celebrate Christmas till the actual day of, and Christmas Eve is just kind of like when everybody gets together and hangs out, in that case you have 4 more days till Christmas, I believe. Again, sorry if I say anything that's like doesn't make sense. I just got off work, super tired, but enough rambling, enough tangent, enough all that other stuff. Let's get to the nitty gritty of why I think you should own a camera, especially if you don't have one. I know a lot of people think their phone camera is good enough, and I'm not disrespecting to the, I'm not giving any disrespect to those that use their phone camera as their main camera, because honestly it's a powerful tool. It's super useful. It's so convenient since you carry it with you everywhere, and it's not only a camera, it's like everything else that you use in your daily life for whatever task you have. And I understand that a professional camera, or just a camera that's meant for only camera purposes, they are a little big, they're a little bulky, and there are some smaller cameras that are like made with that point and shoot style, which are a little more slimmer, and they do tend to have a higher quality than phone cameras. But honestly, nowadays, a point and shoot and a phone camera, I'm not gonna lie, unless you're buying a higher end model point and shoot, they're really close to your phone. I really feel like if you buy a point and shoot that's, below 300, around the 100, 200, $300 range, honestly, I think you're better off just using your phone in reality. And let me explain why. The reason is because, your phone obviously is in your pocket, and that's it. There's no more to explain. It's just, it doesn't make sense why you would, you know, go out of your way to carry this extra device on you. Yeah, you can put an SD card in it and, you know, use that as your kind of like ideology of having to own a little point and shoot camera because you're not taking up storage on your phone. But let's be real, honestly, you're just gonna take that SD card, plug it into your computer, rip that file out, put it in your phone, upload it, and then it's like all these extra steps when you could have just saved yourself time and use your phone camera. Now, with that being said, I know I'm saying you should own a camera that's not your phone camera. And right now, I'm just kind of making the point of like, I'm not trying to argue and, talk smack about iPhone cameras or Google cameras or Samsung cameras because they're pretty dang good for what you get. All in that one bundle, it's like the best bang for your buck. If someone wants to tell me like, hey, what camera should I buy? Honestly, I just kind of say, hey, you should just get a brand new phone. If you don't have a new phone or your phone for whatever reason is just maybe like a couple years outdated, two at the most, I would highly recommend buying a new phone and you know make that your new camera, especially since like nowadays cameras are so good on phones. Not so good to where they could replace a professional camera or a higher end point and shoot, but they're getting there. Fortunately, though, I think uh, professional camera makers such as Canon, Sony, Fuji, and etc. They're kind of waking up, to the realization that they got to step up their game. But yeah, like I said, your phone camera, it's good for everyday purposes, such as just catching that one shot of the little one running around, or getting that silly picture of your dog making a funny face, or doing something that's like super silly, or just being a little bit more covert if you want to record or take pictures somewhere without getting anyone's attention. Again, great option, but but this is where I digress. The thing is, I don't know what it is, but it's something about just that higher quality image or video. When you upload it, it just, one, it puts up a better fight against the compression that it goes through, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. Since if you're not aware, now you are. Whenever you upload something to those platforms, they get compressed. And unfortunately, photos from your phone or video from your phone, it just, I don't know what it is. It looks good on your phone, but when you put it on social media, it just uh, you could get away with some shots. If you have the perfect lighting and the perfect everything, and if you're telling more or trying to show something more than actually, um, I guess, showcase the quality of the image or what you're recording, then yeah. But I think number one reason why you should own a professional camera, it's just the quality. The quality is so much, superior. It looks better. Every professional camera, and this also goes to those higher end point and shoots. And when I say point and shoots, it's just a camera with a fixed lens or a lens that pops in and out. And like I said, there are higher end ones, such as the Sony ZV-1, and I believe they came up with a new one that's the Sony ZV-F, I believe, and those are pretty good cameras. My I got my wife one for last year and for Christmas, and man, does she love it, and I love it. Honestly, it's such a good camera that you could get away with doing some crazy good darn stuff on that camera. for the size, for the money. Again, depends on which camera you go with, but I know like the ZV-E1 or the ZV-1, I think it's like 600. At the time I purchased hers, it was like 700 plus tax. Now it's like the six plus tax, but if you get it used on eBay or something, or from a reputable used online market, or from someone you might know that's selling one, you could get one secondhand pretty good, at a good price. And I think that's the way to go, honestly, if you're trying to get something that's not too bulky, doesn't call attention, and you're just trying to get a little bit more out of your creative side when you're capturing things. And like I said, it just goes a long way. There's so much more features. There's more range of what you can and can't do with the images and the video you take. And don't get me wrong, like I said, phones are great, but just having that opportunity of being able to take that one shot in a much higher quality, you'll definitely thank yourself later. And let's say you're taking video of your kids, and whatever reason you're taking video of them in a dark area, a lot of phones, they can't really hold up in dark, low lighting scenarios. So just being able to take that nice quality low light footage or photo, your kids are going to definitely appreciate it. And honestly, they'll thank you because, it'll look good. And you'll be able to look back on that moment and it'll look like you're actually there. Yeah, because I ain't gonna lie. Uh, Sometimes, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I've definitely seen the difference when you show someone a video when you take it on your phone. They kind of like, they don't really get too into it. They're like, oh, okay, that's cool. But when you show them like a video that you took on your camera, it just sucks them in like they're watching a movie. So, like I said, I just think the quality definitely is a huge reason why you should get a camera. And, it's just so much better. I know I'm being a little bit biased because I'm into cameras, I'm into photo and video, but it's so worth it. I just don't understand why anybody wouldn't have one. Even if you don't use it every day or all the time, you could take it on trips, you could take it on special occasions, take it out here and there. You don't have to carry it with you every day. Maybe when you're going out with the wife and the kids to the park, or whenever you're going to the high school graduation that your friend invited you to, or you're going to go to a special trip with your friends for college, or you're just going to go do something fun, going to go skateboard at the park, and you just want to get some better quality um, for your shot, that for that trick you want to capture, and always remember that you were able to do back in the day, or that you're able to do. Like I said, it's just also way better to share on social media platforms since the compression doesn't take that much of a toll on it. So that's my first part of, you know, basically just covering the quality, and that the quality of itself is worth it. And with that, then I want to say, for the second reason why you should own a camera, and this has to do a little bit more with like the business aspect of it, for those who have a profession in in anything, honestly. I really think if you work for a company or you work for yourself, I think you just having that extra asset that provides not only value to yourself but to your employer, it definitely helps out a lot. Your employer's gonna be like, "Wow, thank you for recording this." Even if they don't use it, just having that under your arsenal, and just documenting the work you do, that's so important and super helpful for you as well, since now you'll actually be able to like have a little bit of a portfolio of what you do. And you might be asking yourself like, well, why am I going to record myself uh you know taking concrete out, or why am I going to record myself building a house, or take a picture of me doing a tile flooring. And I know I'm going really into the construction aspect of it, because that's a labor intensive job, and you just wouldn't see yourself recording yourself. But again, like I said, you having that portfolio of your work, goes to show like, hey, this guy actually did the job. He was there. He's got documentation, like legit. There's no arguing. That's you in the frame doing the job. Boom. And the thing is, if you ever decide that you wanted to branch out and do it on your own, do it by yourself, you have something you can show clients, you can show customers, hey, this is what I do. This is how it looks like. This is how my work ethics are. And, I just feel like it's so valuable to you and, you know, your employer. And like I said, you, for your employer doing this is more like, a possibility of an upside for you. I know you might be saying to yourself, why do I want to, do more work for my employer? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, I already do enough as it is. Hold on, wait a minute, let me explain. So I feel like by you being able to, showcase to your employer your work and just kind of like giving them a little bit of footage to work with and stuff, if he advertises or he's, doing any like social media, oh my gosh, I can't pronounce it. Sorry guys, just oof. This this flu season is no joke. But what I was saying is that by you being able to give that to your employer and him able, to use it for social media networking or advertising or anything else, you could honestly even ask for a raise. Be like, hey, I'm bringing you this extra value. If you use it and you find it valuable, we could talk about a raise. Or, he might even ask you, like, hey, I want you to focus not doing the job today and actually document this because I need it for such and such, whatever the case may be. And I'm just saying that in itself is pretty cool. Um, I say this because I had that happen to me personally, and unfortunately, it was kind of a situation where I didn't want to do the photography, and it's not because again, I love it, but it's just something about kind of like being put on blast. That's the thing. Like coworkers, they kind of see you kind of like in a malicious way, like that you're trying to get out of work because you're doing this thing with cameras and stuff, and it's not even like that. And unfortunately, it's just kind of like you know coworkers aren't going to understand what you're trying to do, and they're just gonna always see you in a bad way. At the end of the day, you just kind of have to ignore what other people think and what other people like, you know, see of you or think of you or the way they see you, and what you're trying to do. Because at the end of the day, you know that what you're doing is for yourself. And like I said, I know from my experience, I was happy. I was happy that I was able to, get out of the job I had to do that day and do something I actually liked. And again, I didn't care for the most part what they thought, but it does make you feel kind of uncomfortable because you're just doing more. You're not slacking. It's not like you're not doing the same work. It's just you're actually doing something different or doing something, doing more. Because sometimes, there were times where I had to do both the jobs. They wanted me to do the job I was doing, and on top of that, just take some video, take some photos, this and that, and give it to them. And again, like I said, that's where this power now that you have kind of gives you a little bit of leeway on asking like, hey, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, or hey, you know, I did this, I will do I well in my eyes believe I deserve a little bit of raise or some compensation or extra pay. And this applies to, honestly anything, whether it's construction, possibly teaching, um, truck driving, um, let's see, retail like Costco, Walmart, Target, honestly anything. To be honest with you, because at the end of the day, you're just giving the company more exposure. And we've seen, I'm sure you've seen it. especially with social media nowadays, a lot of people they document what they're doing at work, or they'll post updates, or they'll talk about their their job, and if that person or that employee is talking well about the company and they're sharing a good experience, that's more than enough for the company, and that's great. Not only are you getting publicity, but so is the company, and that's free promotion, and who doesn't want that, honestly? But like I said, at the end of the day, I do really feel like by you having the ability to take higher quality images and video of situations, whether it's for work or for your community, and something else, I just feel like it just gives you a little bit of another tool under your belt, and that ability to just you know give yourself more value or add value to yourself, if that makes any sense. So hopefully I didn't go too much on the tangent. I believe I kind of stuck to the same idea for the most part. But now to piggyback off of that topic for number three, I did want to say, for the most part, I think, in my opinion, why you should own a camera, especially nowadays, is to advertise yourself. Now, hear me out. You taking video about what you eat for breakfast, or you taking video of what you're wearing, yeah, that's a way of advertising yourself. But let's be honest. I think everybody and their mom is doing that, and they're posting that on social media, and there's more than enough, uh, footage and photos and video of people doing that. So I truly believe if you're gonna advertise yourself, it should be something that either you are passionate about, something you're really good at doing, something that you're interested in, or something others would find interesting. And I say this because if you're good at something that many others aren't, and you share that with friends, family, and the rest of the world, eventually you'll start to get some people that their curiosity peaks, and they want to see more of it, or they want to see more of what you do. And that's where you start getting this little snowball effect, where more eyes on you, the more people start to get interested, the more you start getting that publicity, that rep, starts to build up, and people start to ask you questions. Hey, what is this, what is that, how did you do, how did you start doing this, where you from? And that's valuable. Now you might be asking how or why. Well, here's the thing. If you're doing something that you might not like, but yet this thing that you're putting out for the world to see, you're making it public, and you do like, um, now you're able to document that and do that. And this is something really popular that we're seeing nowadays with all kinds of people, whether it's through like comedy, or hacks, or tutorials for how to do stuff. And like I said, just having that quality, that professional look, that camera, it's just going to make such a huge difference. Because the thing is, like, it's just the way people perceive things. If you're taking, video of you making cookies, or you're setting up, um, you know, a tutorial for how to change up the oil on a certain year, make, and model of vehicle, it's not going to look that professional. And honestly, you know, the human eye, it's so, especially nowadays, our interest is like, you have to like really grab our our attention to keep us like looking, unless the thing itself is really entertaining or really like wow. If it's something very like mundane, like a oil change tutorial, or like a tutorial on how to make something, it can get a little dull, for the most part. And we can see this because a lot of people, even on shorts or reels or TikToks, a lot of people are starting to use more, higher quality looking camera gear. You did see that a lot in the beginning, where people would just plop their phone and do whatever in front of the phone. But I feel like as the platforms adjust and change, and update their algorithms and all these other factors that go into play. You see people start doing this thing where they start, improving themselves as well. They don't just stay doing the same thing. They upgrade. They get better cameras. They get mics, better lighting, and that's where you see those who adapt and change, keep moving forward and progress, versus those who want to stay in the same way of doing things. Either they flatline in their whatever it is, because the thing is, they didn't change, and now their views are flattening out, or they're not getting the same attention, or this and that, or um, people are just not interested anymore. And I feel like that having that camera just gives you that more of that, again, professional look. It starts to kind of push your creativity levels a little bit. You're kind of like now seeing it from a different perspective, because you're like, oh well, how do I make this look nicer, or how do I make it look more popping on the screen? How do I make this pop on the screen? And it's just overall, you're gonna basically just give a more better perspective of what you're capturing in that moment. Again, like I said, yeah, I feel like back in the day, back to kind of to touch on the subject I was saying, like that people upgrade their gear for following reasons. And as I was saying, sorry about that. I'll do the lane change. Got a little distracted. So as I was saying, um, if you kind of think back to like back in the day, old YouTube. Again, I get it. It has to kind of do with the technology and what's available at the time. I'm fully aware of that. So me saying, oh, well, back in the day, their video looked like this, but I'm fully aware it's like what people had available. But the thing is, back in the day, people were recording whatever, whether it was them doing some goofy stuff on, uh, a prank or a dare or a challenge. And a lot of people just did it, on the webcams or just anything, their phone. And let's be honest, phone footage from back in the day, phew, man, that is a wild one. Because just to share a little story, I was looking at a video from back in the day. It's on Facebook or on my Facebook, and my friend had he had a phone back in the day, and I was able to record and take pictures. But man, I was looking at that footage, and compared to today's, footage that you can get on a smartphone, that looks terrible. Again, not talking about him or the phone. I'm actually happy he was able to kind of like get that moment, because it's kind of cool to see how far we've come from my point of view. But man, you can't tell what you're looking at. Like, yeah, you see three bodies, but that's about it. You can't see really like facial characters. You can't really see it just looks like a. Uh, Let me give you a little bit of a description of what it looks like. It's like we're skateboarding and we're at the skate park, but all you see is like the skate park and us, but we're super pixelated. It just looks terrible. Like you can see the pixels, you can see like me just kind of moving like I'm basically a faceless pixelated blob moving back and forth on the skate ramp, and it's wild. It's super wild. But like I said, um, that's honestly a good example of I was interested in skateboarding, and maybe if I would have had a better camera recording me in that moment, and maybe I would have got some eyes from someone like saying, "Oh, this guy's a pretty good skateboarder," yada yada yada. Things could have been different. I don't think so, because I didn't really have that much of a passion for it. It's just kind of like I feel something else. Um, Millennials were, us younger generation were doing at the time, and I say that because I don't really see people skateboarding anymore. Like, yeah, you'll see those few, and you'll see those adults, my age skateboarding, 25, 26 folk. Um, But yeah, I don't really see kids skateboarding anymore. Um, Whenever I pass through this town where I used to skateboard, I always look at the skate, park just to see what's up. And yeah, it is empty. But I digress. Back to what I was saying. Um, yeah, basically just you being able to put your work, what you do, what you're passionate about in a more professional aspect is going to get you, you know, that professional treatment, if that makes any sense. Because, like, the thing is, let's say you're a pastry chef and you're sharing your pastries and stuff, but if your pastry looks not that great on camera, then, it's not going to um, resonate with the viewer. Like, if you make this amazing looking cake and in person it looks like wow, but then you take video of it and you're like, not wow, or not wow enough, or okay, it looks okay on camera, then there's something wrong. Trust me, the cake's not the problem. I'm sure the cake looks great, and I'm sure anyone that was there would probably eat it, unless it looks like something one of those like Netflix shows where like they try to copy the cakes. Then I don't know about that one. But if you're like a really good pastry chef and it looks really nice, but you just can't capture that beauty on your phone camera, then this is where a professional camera comes into play. And this applies to honestly everything, whether it is that you do knitting or custom work for vinyl wraps on cars, or whether it is that you build furniture, or you're trying to sell stuff online, or through OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace or whatever the case may be. Just people being able to see the object or whatever you're doing in a higher quality, it just gives you a better, uh, higher rep as a publicity, I guess, person if you're trying to put yourself out there, or just you network, advertising your work. It just looks more professional. Now, going on to number four, the reason you should own a professional camera, especially now, like I said previously, it just has to do with nowadays everyone, and I mean everyone, for the most part, unless it's like those people that just like, the same folk that were like, we're gonna stick to flip phones. I'm not getting a smartphone. Flip phones for life. Forget the system. Then yeah, in that case, those individuals, they'll eventually catch up. I'm sure they're gonna have to either learn to embrace it or learn that hey, either you go with the times or you stay behind. And yeah, it's like you have to admit when people like that don't want to accept what's going on, they're more than likely eventually gonna just kind of like you know, unfortunately, miss out on a ton of opportunities that they might have had or you know, come upon due to them just taking a little extra step to just kind of like give themselves an advantage. It's just kind of like if you had a button to give you a new skill, why would you say no to it? It's like that doesn't make any sense to me. It's like why would you purposely hinder yourself and you know affect the ability of you being able to get more clients or get better work or go up on your pay scale. I just for me it doesn't make sense, but to each their own. And I'm sure people will say, "Oh well, they could do it their own way or old school. They could figure it out." Yeah, but let's be honest. A lot of people, I get it. They're complacent or they just don't want to change stuff. Which thank goodness for some of those people because yeah, like retro stuff is cool, but at the same time, I just don't know why you would make yourself you know I don't know why you would make your life a little harder. You can make it a little easier. Why not? At the end of the day, it's about saving yourself time, using your time wisely, and using it, especially using your time where it matters, especially nowadays. Um, but like I said, for me, I just really feel like it's super important that you get, into the game of like um, just documenting what you do. Like I said, I feel like everybody nowadays, is uploading to social media, and I think for those individuals who don't understand the power of that, um, if you think about it, it's you're only able to like have a set time that you could work since you have to sleep. So just you being able to, show your work outside of the times that you're not working is so valuable. Just you being able to advertise what you do or how you do it, it just makes your life and you having to value yourself that much easier because other people can do that for you. They're gonna see whether they're scrolling through their feed or they're looking up how to, do such and such or what's this or what's that. It just, yeah, it's so much more, it's so much more better for someone to, get in the habit of uploading a higher quality, uploading at a higher quality. Because, like I said, it's just a matter of time that, honestly, in my opinion, I think it won't be long before we all have to basically do that. And I think it's better to start now and not later. Hence the reason that, like, if we notice a lot of people that, started early or got there first, they had a, far, far, you know, a much more better advantage than someone starting 2 years later, since they're already 2 years in. They're learning, they're adapting, they're making mistakes, and they're, seeing how they can fix it. Versus someone that's just starting brand new, obviously you know who's going to have a better uh, end result. By the time the other person's starting, so, it just for me it just I just don't see a future where people don't upload consistently things about themselves online. Again, like I said, if you're gonna just upload any little random thing, that's fine. Your phone will do. You don't need the higher quality. You don't need your pancakes from Denny's, in 4K, or you don't need, the mailman giving the finger in 4K. Even though that would be funny, it definitely will get some attention. But again, it's not for the reasons I'm saying. I'm saying you yourself, you have to, if you're planning on using your camera to, bring attention to your interests, your hobbies, etc. It's a good way to honestly express yourself and share what you do with the world. And in this world where everybody's like, constantly uploading, I don't know the exact number, but it's a wild number of how many hours of footage is uploaded to YouTube every day. It's insane. So, you know, I just feel like having that tool for yourself, it's a no brainer. Honestly, it's just a no brainer. And as mentioned, I definitely don't see a future where people aren't uploading. And it's crazy because I really think even if you have a small following, whether it's a month or two or three, from however long it is that you're uploading these videos to the internet, I definitely feel like it will be a game changer for you because little followings or little communities that you build, that's so much value, not alone in, that's so much value in itself, for the reason being that not only can you now like communicate with other people and ask questions, and they're gonna be definitely like intertwined with you, um, but now if you ever come up with an idea or you find something useful or you need help with something, now you got people to reach out to. And it's crazy because Yeah, you have your family, your friends, that you know in person, but let's be honest. Like, I'm more than positive that you see a fellow TikToker, YouTuber, or person on Instagram possibly more throughout the day than you see your own friends and family. And, it's just something about it that I find it interesting, that because if you're willing to give that much time and attention to somebody else, and, let's just say it was you on that other end of the stick, how much, value would that add to you? How much value would it, give you to know that you have a community that understands, supports you? Well, yeah, just kind of sees eye to eye and can, share relatable stuff with you. And for me, that self, that alone in itself is so, beneficial. And I think we're on number five now. Number five, honestly, I think this is kind of like the one I'll, saving a little bit for the end, just because, for those who stayed or for those who've got this far and listened to all the other stuff, the reason why I believe you should have a camera, and I know I keep repeating it because the thing is, I mean it. I really hope you get a camera. I'm not, some kind of like camera lobbyist, or, I'm not pushing a camera down your throat and making money from it. I just really think it can be a really useful tool. And some days, like, you can make so much money with a camera. It's insane how much money you can make with a camera. And I feel like people don't really understand that. Like, I feel like people nowadays are really closed minded. They see someone post videos or photos online, they're like, oh, that's so cool, like you're lucky, or oh, they got just, um, freaking the lucky draw and able to like grow a following and yada yada yada. People just kind of attach their publicity or their um, goals or whatever they were able to accomplish to them and them only, honestly, and some luck. But they never think about the camera. No one ever says, wow, because he picked up that camera, he's making so much money now. No one ever like stops and says, you know what? What if I could pick up a camera and make that much money as well? Or do the same thing? Or just don't copy. I don't, condone it, but you can do something similar, just put your own twist on it. But, it's simple as just picking up a camera and literally documenting stuff that other people find interesting, whether it's about you, your passion, your hobby, your job, and just being able to grow that community to something where it's like now you're able to sell merch, sell stuff that's related to your job or your hobby, or now you're able to bring eyes to something that you want to do that you couldn't do before. Since now you have people backing you up. And I'll bring in this story because I think this is a really prime example of like someone that like was young, had a passion, a drive, and they knew that there was a way to get what they wanted, and it all had to do just with a push of a button, and that was a camera. I'm sure. I know everyone talks about him. I know it's like, oh, okay, we get it. Everyone's always trying to like use his name, uh, maybe for like their own publicity. But I really think one example I can give that everyone should know him, and if you don't, then let me explain. Which, like I said, I doubt, but let me explain. The YouTuber Mr. Beast, a young teenager who liked watching YouTube, who wanted to become famous on YouTube, and that's the thing. He just wanted to become famous. He didn't do it with any like making money in mind until he learned later on that you can make money. But That's one instance where, by him just picking up a camera, was able to change his whole life around. You know how insane it is to be able to think that there's an object out there that you could create stuff with, and that stuff you make with that camera could change your life? That's insane. That's absurd. There's never been a tool. There's, Let me repeat that one more time. There's never been a tool that I'm aware of that you can grab, capture what you're doing, whether it's for, you know, fun, whether it's for your family, whether it's for professional stuff, and use whatever you capture to share with others and somehow make money from it. It's just insane. Now, like I said, Mr. Beast, he was able to pull that off. Now I don't know how much, money he has exactly, but he's pretty damn well off. And if that's not inspirational to anybody, then I don't know what is. But that being said, he didn't start off with, high end equipment. I get that. I'm over here advocating for a professional camera. But, let's look at the times. Times are different. We're in an era where everyone's got really good, cameras on their phones. And I do feel, me personally, that's just me. But like I said, you able to have this tool to create wealth different ways is absurd and insane and an opportunity that you should be jumping on. And I'm not saying you have to go take pictures of people and charge for that. I'm not saying you gotta start uploading, videos to YouTube and hope you make money off of that. I'm not saying any of that. But what I am saying is that by you picking up that camera, taking video of something or someone or a place, that you have just opened up the door for you to make a way of making money. Like, you know how many people pay other people to take photos of their house to sell it on, Zillow or whatever? It's insane. And it's because people don't want to buy the expensive camera, but they know the value it brings. Here's another example. You know how crazy it is that people want you to go to their party that you probably wouldn't have been invited to, but they want you to go, and they're paying you to go to take photos and videos of the event. Isn't that wild? And the thing is, okay, maybe you don't like taking pictures and videos, as I stated earlier, but isn't it insane that if you come up with a cool invention or you make something so sick that you're like, I know this will be a freaking Shark Tank banger, that you're able to like share it online and it could go viral and you're basically done with your marketing? Isn't that amazing? I think so. I think that is so cool. I think that is like the best thing anyone can ever have. Imagine if Pet Rock was made today. Imagine that man became a millionaire selling this thing called Pet Rock. And he became a millionaire because of how many he sold. But let's be real. He sold as many as he did during that time because, and I know it was a lot, but not a lot to the point where you're like, wow. Because the thing is, if you think about it, a lot of it back in the day was word of mouth. Someone wrote an article in the newspaper, crazy man makes Pet Rock. People think it's cute. Some people buy it, some people don't. And, you know, that's about it. And the thing is, imagine if he was able to come to this time today, make a short, a reel, a TikTok, whatever the case may be, upload it to social media, make it go viral. This man would have made so much money off of that one thing. Because the thing is, now you're not only you're hitting like people in your local area or a couple states nearby because of word of mouth or publicity. Now you're hitting the whole United States, Canada, Mexico, Europe, Africa, so on, because you have so much more reach. You have so much more power in being able to tell someone across the world instantaneously of your cool idea. And now it's whether up to the person if they want to buy it or not. So you didn't have to take photos or video for someone else. You took it for yourself. And if you're telling me, oh my gosh, it's so hard to take a picture or video, it is, but it is. You know, if you're something you capture on auto,